Walter Bansley, 86 years old. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, which I am very proud of. And that sounds horrible to say life is good, because naturally it wasn't. We had a war, but the country was at war, not just the fighting men. The country was at war. In New York, we had the Daily News and we had the Post, two big papers, and there was another paper. Now, every day you got the newspaper. There was a big banner on the front page on the top. X amount killed in the Pacific. And in smaller letters, X amount wounded in the Pacific. The bottom, X amount killed in the European theater, X amount wounded in the European. Do you see that now? You don't see that now. We don't even know how many people are getting killed over there now. We don't know if anybody's getting killed. That's disgraceful. But we knew all this. When you opened the paper up, it was stories about the war. And everybody was very, very, very patriotic. Everybody. Unfortunately, if you were 4F, you were put down sometimes very brutally, which is a shame because the guy can't help it. But some people had babies, so they couldn't get drafted. This is true. They'd go out and get babies and they wouldn't get drafted. But for the most part, the patriotism was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. The whole country got together and mentioned the women. I thought it was fantastic, because I can remember when the women first started, reports in the paper. Rosie the Riveter was the big name that they called her. But you're talking about these are women, not kids, not young, you're talking about middle age or whatever, that had kids going in the service. And the ladies stayed home then. There were very few women worked in those days. And if they did work, it was, clerical jobs or like that. And she's within a week, you see all these women with hard hats on, working in the factories and ammunition factories and stuff like that. And I think that's totally underplayed. I don't think they know about those women. Every now and again you hear a story, but they were just fantastic. They helped to win the war just as much as the fellows over there fighting, because if they didn't have the material, the men wouldn't be fighting. They're building planes. Whoever heard of them then? I'm going back to the old days. Not today, we all love the women, but back in those days, whoever heard of a woman building a plane? And it was just, they just did a great job. And the thing was, they were extremely proud of themselves, which rightfully so. My mother and a couple of her friends, again, here started something nice. What could be nicer in World War II? Group of women got together, neighbors, and they sewed socks. They made socks for the servicemen. Here you got a whole group of women that never talked to each other, sitting down, knitting socks for the men, Of course, the socks from Mother May were pretty rough, but they wore them anyway, I vividly remember Pearl Harbor Day, sitting in front of a radio, and it was totally unbelievable. It couldn't happen. You go to the movies, which they don't do today. You go to the movies and you start off with the newsreels about the war, all about the war. And I'm talking about a half hour, 45 minutes, I would guess, something like that. That you would get all the updated news of the war. And then you saw the movie. Like the guy that kissed the woman, the sailor that kissed the woman in Times Square. That was a great day. That was a great day. Everybody was your friend that day. You hugged everyone. It was a great day. My brother was hopefully at that time on his way home, but it didn't happen. They kept him. They discharged him by point system. He came home in horrible condition. I wasn't home, I was in the service. according to what my father said. He came home with part Army uniform, part Marine uniform. He smelt awful. His teeth were rotten. He says he looked like a ghost. And he had a sea bag with him. And my father opened the sea bag and had to throw it out in the backyard. It smelled so bad, it was all musty. There wasn't a thing in the bag that could be used. And he got out of bed several times and fought with my father out of a dead sleep. "57 years. So it would be 64 now. My good friend Donald Brereton and I went to kindergarten school together. And we went all through high school together and graduated from high school together. He went in the paratroopers, and I went in the Army Air Force. And actually, he used to fly down from Fort Benning, Georgia, down to Selma, Alabama, which was Craig Field, on the weekends just to eat, because we in the Air Force ate so well. And they didn't eat well at all, nor did anyone else. I had the best food I ever had in that base, and it was a little tiny shanty of a kitchen. And every Friday night we had fried oysters, and every Saturday night the best southern fried chicken you ever had. So he would fly down, and if he was home, if we both got leave together, we'd go out together. We always went to the same nightclub where we could dance and whatever, and meet girls. It was the purpose of it. So he called me up this time, and it says, "Hey, Walt, I got home 2 days ago. Let's go out, whatever, go to the same place." And I said, "Yeah, right." And anytime he and I used to do a lot of roller skating, and we were very good on roller skating. I could dance very well on roller skates, and which means you had to dance backwards. The lady danced forward, and he was good at it. The only thing is he couldn't pick up girls. I had to pick up 2 girls because he was very shy, so I'd have to pick up 2 girls. So he says to me, "Oh yeah, listen, I'm bringing a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend." "You have a girlfriend? Without me getting you one?" You know? So he said, "I'll meet you down there." So he says, "Can you get a date?" "Yeah, sure, I got a date. I got a date." And there's a place, it's an exclusive area out there. When I say exclusive, you had to be a member to go in, but they had a huge nightclub out there called Kelly's. Now, when I talk about a huge, they had a 16-piece band, because that's what we danced to. No 2-piece screaming, 16-piece orchestras. And we danced to that. And I loved dancing, and I danced, as I said, with roller skates. He's sitting there, and she's sitting there. And this lady I brought, she wanted to go out to the water. It was on the water. And drop pennies in the water and make wishes. And I couldn't quite see that, you know, but I did it. I came back in, and I looked at this lady, and I could tell she wants to dance. And I said, "Helen, would you like to dance?" Oh, God, yes. I danced with her Saturday night and had a date with her Monday afternoon. She worked in a department store downtown Brooklyn. 6 months later we got engaged, and 6 months later we got married. So I stole my lovely wife from my best friend. In fact, his mother met my wife in a grocery store one day and went home and said, "You know, you're supposed to be my daughter-in-law." My friend, anyway, I happened to run into the only guy in the group. I happened to run into him in Publix, and he says, "Hey, Walter, why don't you come and join me dancing, you know?" I said, "I don't want to dance." I said, "I've never danced with anybody else. I don't want to dance." And he takes me to Mark Anthony Senior Center. And go down there, and he's dancing, and it's loaded with women, men, whatever, nice band. And I won't dance. I drank beer, but I wouldn't dance. And the ladies kept coming over asking me, you know, and he kept saying, "Walter, there's a nice lady," and he'd send women over. Yeah, I don't dance. The funny thing is, they got a little luncheonette type thing or whatever, where you buy soda and whatever, and a woman inside, volunteer, taking care of it, and she was there. The whole place was empty. Not a person sitting there. There were all these big round tables. They were all out on the dance floor. I was the only one sitting there. And she came over and looked at me, put her hands on her hips, and it was just like a sergeant, a gunny sergeant. She says, get up off your ass and dance. And I did. And Joe says, hey, Walter, you just get yourself in a lot of trouble. All these ladies asked you to dance, and you said no, you danced with her. That's what she scared me, you know. So I started dancing. So, and I had a good time doing it, you know. It's very difficult asking ladies to dance, very difficult. And I had to dance up on US 1 in the Holiday Inn, I think it was. Yeah, Holiday Inn. So I was going there. My friend and I was going there, and I danced a lot. I went there every single Saturday night. And there were a lot of fun things happen, you know. I danced with one lady, and she says, Walter, your fingernails are my fingernails are very hard, and they grow extremely fast. And she says, your fingernails hurt. Oh, well, that's the only problem you have. So the next week, I go back and go over and ask her to dance, and she gets up, I put on a pair of gloves. And I dance with the gloves. She wants the gloves for. So my nails talk. I asked Fern to go to a wedding with me. My friend Joe, who brought me here, got me involved in all this, is getting married and asked me to be his best man. So she says no. How could she say no to me? You know, my God. So I says, why not? So she says, you got a reputation around here as being a player. Oh, so I come home and the next morning I get on the phone. Hey, Terry, what the hell is a player? Oh my God, Dad, don't tell me you're a player. I don't even know what it is. She says, you know, then she starts telling me. I says, oh no, geez, that's awful, you know. Because I talk pleasantly, you know, like I know you, nobody's really a stranger, you know, I guess. So I went back and let her know that I am not a player, you know. In fact, I went out and I had a T-shirt made, player. And I wore the T-shirt. So then she decided, after the wedding, of course, I don't think she liked me having another girlfriend at the wedding. Oh, after that we started going together. We've been going together for 5 years now.